White Solar and Energy Storage Podcast at Inner Solar San Diego. Stay classy, San Diego. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, here we are in San Diego, in rainy San Diego at the Inner Solar Conference, and we are doing a podcast with Erika Ginsberg-Klemmt. And my name is Sean White, and this is Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. And we just wanted to remind you to stay classy, San Diego. So what's happening, Erika? You do stuff with EVs and plug-in stuff and solar carports and prizes. It sounds really fun. If you wanted to have a lot of fun too, check this podcast out on video over at the YouTube channel, and you can see Erika's hair. We won't tell you anymore.
No. There you go.
So tell us what you do.
We do have a lot of fun with our Mega.
Anything that's Mega is good. You know
well, we started with the Mega. We actually trademarked our name in 2019 before it was cool. Now, my daughter did not want to use the word Mega because I was using it to sell our product as Make Electricity Great Again. Now, that was back when we used to laugh about those things. We're not laughing so much anymore, are we? So, yes, we are laughing. The Mega is a mobile electricity generating appliance. We take it off your roof.
Mobile electricity generating appliance.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you think of an appliance...
I always think of Mega meaning million. But you know what else too is like capital M in Roman, just 1,000. So if you really wanted to swindle somebody, you could sell them an M watt, an MW, and then like you only have to come through with 1,000 watts instead of 1,000,000. So you could like sales trick them and make a whole bunch of money.
Oh man, well, we're more into generating the megawatts via the kilowatts because every little kilowatt adds up, right?
Yep.
In fact, I'd like to ask you something, Sean. Before you ask me something, I'm going to ask you two things. First, what do you think is an appliance?
An appliance? Gosh, it could mean a lot of different things, but
what comes to your mind?
Like a toaster?
There you go, like toaster. A toaster, an oven, a refrigerator, right? You plug it in and it works. That's an appliance, right? And when I say to you a solar system, what do you think of then?
Oh, I think of a system that's usually got an inverter and maybe some batteries if you're lucky, and some wires. And,
a lot of hard wires that you don't see because you have a contractor that has hidden them behind things, and whatever the contractor is going to go up on your roof, make sure you have the right roof, make sure everything's properly attached up there, and that it's out of your sight, out of your mind, you just want it to work. Well, we take that system off of the roof into your own clear site, somewhere you can touch it, somewhere you can clean it yourself. It's an appliance, and you plug it into a 240 volt dedicated circuit on a 40 amp breaker. And
so it's like plug-in solar.
It is plug-in solar. We are the first ones to do plug-in solar.
It's funny, we were just talking about balcony solar with Bill Brooks on the last podcast just here like an hour ago.
Okay, well, I don't know Bill Brooks. Who does he work for?
He works for himself. He's an engineer, and he's been doing grid-tie solar for, I think, 38 years.
Well, good. Yep. See, I'm making connections right here at Inner Solar. That's what it's all about. So yes, Bill Brooks is involved in what they might call balcony solar. We were in Germany.
That's kind of what we call it. So he's involved with writing the codes and stuff, and the Germans are the ones that started calling it balcony solar.
Right.
Yep.
Since we have fewer balconies here, obviously they're calling it backyard solar, plug-in solar. We are the OGs of plug-in solar. And in fact, the real OGs were back in 2012. If you go on our website, I have a link to the Sunshot Initiative Plug and Play Solar Grant that was given by the DOE back then to find solutions for plug and play, they called it solar. And they never thought to take it off of the roof. So we established our patent a couple of years ago already and have as a go-no-go milestone for our SBIR grant the establishment of a standard for plug-in solar, both the 110 that you're talking about there, your balcony solar, and the 240. Now, what I find so interesting is they say, yeah, we're doing it just like Germany, right? They got balcony solar, we got balcony solar. Well, guess what? We have 110 here. They have 240 in Germany. They have dedicated circuits, okay, on a 40 amp breaker or 40 to 60 amp breakers. So we have that as an extra layer of security. In many ways, the Mega is openly safer than it is to use a balcony solar, the 110, because of the breaker masking issues. You know, somebody going out and buying several of them and not putting it into a dedicated circuit is a problem. So if you're going to go out and get yourself already your electrician, you might as well churn out the kilowatts for that, right? So that's what we're about. If you have a 240 volt plug receptacle in your garage for your dryer, for your EV charger, you can plug in this carport that has removable wheels, and you wheel it into your driveway, settle it down, plug it in, and now you're shading your car, charging your batteries, charging your home, and exporting the excess energy that you don't use back to the grid.
Okay, I want to make a claim here too that I invented plug-in solar.
Okay.
Or I probably didn't. I mean, but like when I was doing these classes, and I think I started doing this probably in 2009.
Okay.
And so I'm teaching a class, and I want people to just get the feel and like actually see something get backfed. Yeah, the first one that I made, I did a couple like simultaneously. And so this is kind of a crazy one. This is totally illegal. Don't do this at home. You'll go to like backfeeder prison.
Right.
But I took a micro inverter, like an in-phase micro inverter, and I wanted to plug it in. And that one is like 240 or 208. It's not going to be 120. So what did I do? I went around the room and I found different circuits that were out of phase with each other to get the 208. And I was backfeeding hotel rooms.
Ooh, bad boy. And that's before UL 1741 anti-islanding requirements.
That was there, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so there's like, you know, if you turned it off for a second, it would go off for 5 minutes. And you have to like wait for 5 minutes for it to like feel the grid and make sure it's a good signal before it could start backfeeding.
I see, okay.
But I would do that for my classes, and I think the students would be like, they'd kind of get it. They'd get like, oh, cool. This doesn't have batteries. It's just backfeeding the grid, and it would go right into the wall. And I had like this little kilowatt meter because it kills watts. And it's like an energy monitor, and you plug it in behind your plug. I still have it. I still use it, exactly the same one. And so I could see it do it. And then I found an eBay inverter that was totally not UL 1741, but it worked at 120 volts. And so then I could just plug it in the wall and put in a little solar module, and I wouldn't have to go find the different circuits in the hotel room, and you know, so I could just do it at 120. And then there was another one that I used. It was a microinverter called Apparent Power. And there was this guy that was inventing these 120 volt inverters. He actually took me to the Googleplex, the Google campus, and he was like, he took apart these big SATCON inverters and replaced them with these little 120 volt microinverters, and then so I would carry that in my suitcase. But anyway, I mean, I just was doing that a long time ago, but none of it was like a product that you could buy or
well,
anything like that.
It doesn't sound like it had any generation involved either.
Oh no, it made electricity and it just backfed the plug.
So where was your solar panels?
I just hooked it up to the inverter, and we would like...
Just out the window?
We would bring it outside. I actually like would rig up this long wire, and I could extend things and bring them out. Okay. So like, yeah, we'd find like the hotel room, but we'd also have to find a place where there was sun.
Oh, my goodness.
Like we did it through windows. I remember doing it, and I've done it a whole bunch of times over the years.
You know, Guerilla Solar really plays a big part in the...
Guerilla Solar.
That's what that is, essentially. DIY, Guerilla Solar, you know, doing it sort of outside of the box, do it yourself, you know, regulations be damned.
Yeah, that came out of Home Power magazine, the term Guerilla Solar, I think it did. Home Power went out of business in 2018, but they had a Guerilla Solar person backfeeding the grid, covering up their face. And one time we were backfeeding the convention center in Toronto, And the whole class covered up our faces and backfed the convention center and sent it to Home Power, and they didn't put it in their magazine. That's why they went out of business.
So why are you calling it backfeeding to the center?
The electricity.
Why not just feeding? Why not just generating?
Because you were talking about Guerilla solar, so the silver back Guerilla. That's where back comes from.
The word backfeeding has a very negative connotation to it.
Okay, so maybe we should just call it feeding.
We tend to there's leakage, which is a negative thing, right? You don't want things to leak. You don't want your undesirable electricity to electrocute a line worker when they're trying to get the grid back up. That's why we have a 1740. But ultimately, we are all just generating and feeding. I'm not a big fan of the word backfeeding because people use it for the wrong purposes. Oh, no, you can't plug that in. That'll backfeed. That's very bad.
Oh, yeah.
What about the grid then? So I'm all about that messaging.
You have crazy hair. Do you like Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah.
He does a lot of backfeeding.
That kind of backfeed. There you go. A little bit of, I guess you could even call that distortion, positive distortion. Absolutely. That is really cool that you've been into doing those cutting edge ideas before, right? And those things bring us further. But you know what else is necessary? Are sadly sitting in these boring codes and standards, conventions, getting inside, infiltrating the powers that be that make those decisions, whether it's IREC, whether it's the net code, which is basically written by the NFPA. Do you know who the NFPA is?
National Fire Protection Association.
There you go. Sounds like they run around with their little fire engines, right? But in reality, they write the electric code. I'd like to know how many engineers they have writing our electric code today. I don't think very many.
Oh, I know a bunch of them, like Bill Brooks.
Well, I think I have to meet Bill Brooks because
and there's a couple of Rebecca
engineers out there that.
Jason
Fisher. Rebecca Wren knows us very well.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Optimism. Once you have optimism, everything works out.
Yeah, Rebecca Wren is sort of like, all of these folks are frenemies, okay? I have to be straight with that. They're frenemies because they can't go out and just say what you do is safe. For whatever reason, there are all sorts of powers that be that want to curtail your capacity of using a plug. Oh, the exposed prongs. They don't have a problem with exposed prongs on all sorts of other things, your drill or your electric range. I suppose the kid could get back there and undo that. But something about just even the smallest amount of plug-in solar, suddenly exposed prongs are a great safety hazard. I would like to know why.
I think we should just get rid of all the rules. One of my neighbors, she was in the Road Warrior movie.
Yeah.
We should go back to like full-on anarchy,
There's a problem with that,
like
which
you
is
see
that we do
Road
have
Warrior,
a
there's
grid.
nobody inspecting your interconnection.
I think we need to read Henry David Thoreau then.
Oh, I went to Walden Pond
Well,
last
there
year.
you go.
Yeah.
Henry David Thoreau talks about a social contract. I mean, once you and I are on the road, you got to have some rules. You got to have speeding rules, or you can't just cut people off and stop in the middle, or usually have, priority, or all of these things. Rules are made for us to stay, quote, safe, but we've got to keep it scientific and stop making it about these scary backfeeding or exposed prongs that someone electrocute. Excuse me. All of these inverters have automatic anti-islanding. In less than nanoseconds, if you pull it out, it goes down just as if you turned it off.
Yeah.
We have to wait for the next cycle and the next cycle for the codes and standard. So what do we do now? Now we have legislation. Now we have legislators saying, you should be allowed to plug in. But all that legislation says at the bottom must be UL listed. Now let's go over to UL. What does UL have to say? Well, it needs to go with the codes and standards of today. We don't have a standard for plug-in solar. We need to create a standard based on the rules and regulations of the net code. What does NEC say about generating by means of a plug? So you go around and around and around. In that way, I kind of appreciate somebody like Donald, you-know-who, Mr. 46 or 47 in that White House sitting there saying, we're going to erase all of the regulations. Drill, baby, drill. I don't believe in what this hoax of a climate change. We're going to make energy that way. Well, why doesn't he do that for plug-in solar? Plug, baby, plug. Nobody's going to stop you from that.
Okay. Wow. That's like a mic drop moment, but we're not done yet.
No, we're not. We're not done yet. All right. What is next then?
Okay.
Yeah.
So this mobile electricity generating appliance.
Yes. My daughter's the CEO of the company and the co-inventor on the patent.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yes.
Okay.
She's a 26-year-old mechanical engineer from UC Berkeley.
Oh, yeah. Berkeley's cool. I've done a lot of things in Berkeley that I
went
cannot
there
really
too,
say on my podcast.
I graduated there in '88, so it's
awesome.
my alma mater as well. My husband is from Germany, so he has his energy systems.
I did a semester there in '89.
Oh, well, there you go. We just crossed paths.
Yeah,
We just crossed paths.
And both sets of my grandparents met at UC Berkeley.
Is that right?
And my parents met at UC Berkeley, and I go to the Lair of the Bear camp every year.
Oh, Lair of the Bear camp. That sounds good. Well, I was part of the co-ops for 4 years. Chateau, Barrington.
Oh, yeah. I probably went to some parties there.
You know, Fenwick, Roachdale. Used to be called Ridge House.
Barrington.
Now
it's
Casa Zimbabwe.
Barrington, they were in the news. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like crazy parties
or something. They
Uh-huh.
were definitely in the news. They closed down, sadly, during the 4 years that I was there. You know, LSD jumping out of windows.
Oh, yeah, that was
things
me.
like that. Yeah, that was you, exactly. That was all of us back then.
Do you remember Larry Blake's, the blues club on Telegraph?
Well, we just called it Blake's. Yeah,
Blake's. Yeah, I miss that place. They closed it down.
Intermezzo.
I eat there. That's my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, they had
them big old salads.
Veggie Delight. Oh man, they'd put an entire avocado up the middle of it.
I've been eating those for like 40 years or something.
Me too. So we both have that as our background. I had no interest in renewable energy until around 2017 is when I started.
So before that, you were drilling. Well, before
that, we were in a sailboat. My kids are born and raised on a sailboat.
Oh, yeah?
We crossed the Pacific, the Atlantic twice.
We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Shaun White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Shaun White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Shaun White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSEAN, that's Solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show.
Wow, I have a Ranger 33 with Bill Brooks.
There you go. This guy, Bill Brooks, I got to meet him.
Yeah.
He sounds like a bestie. All right.
What kind of boats were you sailing on?
So our first one was a steel ketch. It was a one-off care-off French design, hard chine. The second one is an aluminum boat. We still have it.
Where do you have it?
She's a Dalu 47. Well, we've been the last 20 years out of Southwest Florida.
Oh, okay.
So this whole nonsense has all been done out of Florida.
Okay.
And believe it or not, that was part of the impetus. I don't know if you know, but Florida could be a lot better when it comes to renewable energy, and it's simply because of the vertically integrated investor-owned monopolies there that curtail your capacity to generate, which that problem led us to this solution.
Yep. Yeah, I just did a podcast, Why Republicans Love Solar. And it was because the grid is communist.
That's right.
That was one of the reasons.
I mean, it would be completely, those damn, getting subsidies.
It's all about like community and communism and all that stuff.
Right, who needs that? It's up to me. Well,
it's calm words.
Don't forget that the first legislative bill out of Utah was passed by Representative Raymond Ward. He is a Republican.
You mean for
plug-in solar? Yes.
Okay.
So we were in the chambers when that passed.
They like putting stuff in the chamber in those
Yes, they
states,
do. We were in the chamber.
The chamber of the gun and the...
There you go. If you can own a gun you can own a plug. That's the way they see it.
Yeah, it's
so that's how it should be.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
Well, the problem is the idea of the grid being owned by, some generator back there, and all you do is plug in and pay the bill. Those days have got to be over. I don't understand. Well, of course I do understand the reasons why the incumbent players insist on impeding progress with renewable behind the meter solutions. But it's certain that it's got to be the future. It is everywhere except for in America for whatever reason.
Great.
There
Okay,
you go.
so mega.
Yes.
MBGA.
We haven't even gotten to our product yet.
Yeah.
So, would you like to know more about the mega?
Yeah, like where do I get one? How do I plug it in?
All right.
And then it is an unusual type of plug. So you said it's a 240 volt plug. So the 240 volt plugs usually in your house are going to be like for a dryer,
there you
like
go.
a dryer plug.
The same as a dryer
and
plug.
I installed a dryer plug
there you go.
in my house so I could plug in an electric vehicle charger.
That I was about to say. You talk more than I do.
No.
EV chargers, ranges, and dryers are often on a 240 volt split phase system. The split phase you know about because you went ahead and did your split phase in that hotel. But it is not unusual. It is not an unusual plug. We have 10 of them in the field, despite the solar police potentially coming out and dragging
the solar police, man.
Well, of course, we could make one of our beachhead markets folks who already have an interconnection agreement with an anemic rooftop system that now with their 2 Teslas and going forward electrifying their entire home are now getting these big bills again. So you roll the mega into your sunny driveway, plug it in, and that is that, folks. Watch the bill go down.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. So where you can get one, we have not been in the business of sales. We've been in the business of moving the regulatory needle. Thankfully, for the next 5 years, whoever's listening to this will be amongst the first to hear about it. So it's an unofficial announcement. For the next 5 years, we will be deploying 100 megas at the Lakota Nation on the Pine Ridge Reservation of South Dakota.
Oh, right. That's where people do sun dances. And
yes, that's where people do sun dances. And the Red Cloud Renewable Energy Center
they
is
work
run
with,
by Henry
ACES.
Red Cloud.
Yeah, he goes to the ACES conferences. I've seen him there a lot.
Henry is our man. And he took one look at the mega, saw it was a solution, and now I won't say who the grant is from. We are getting a generous 5-year grant for deploying these megas on Pine Ridge Reservation for the homes in America that need them the most.
Awesome. So you won't tell us who the grants come from?
Nope, I can't.
I have some thumb screws in my pocket.
I'm under wraps. But just keep your eyes and ears tuned. I need to allow the philanthropic arm of this grant to make their own announcement first.
Okay.
But Red Cloud Renewables is the proud recipient. And for the next 5 years, that's it. After this, I go to American Council on Renewable Energy in Washington, D.C., and then I go back to Sarasota, Florida, where we move to South Dakota for the next 5 years, folks.
You're moving to South Dakota?
Yes.
Oh, all right. And I know that the Dakotas, just in general, I think North Dakota is 52 out of 50 for like states for how much solar's installed.
Meaning very little.
Like very, very little.
Very,
and I think
very
South Dakota
little.
might be right next to
South
them.
Dakota is right next to them. And it's got its ancient historical grounding why that is. These are coal states, very protective of their coal. People think, it's cold up there. Guess what, folks? Cold doesn't hurt solar. Cold is great for solar. Clouds, that's bad for solar.
Except for Henry Red Cloud. He's good for solar.
Yes, Henry Red Cloud is very good for solar. He's been doing this for a number of decades, and now his son, John Red Cloud, is taking over the operations portion. It's an incredible legacy, what they're building there, and we're very excited to be doing weatherization for these homes in need and proof of concept for both VPP configuration as well as individual behind the meter configuration for our
so
megas.
you can hook up one of these megas to a VPP, a virtual power plant then?
No difference than rooftop. There is no essential difference between the activities going on with that plug-in solar and a rooftop system. It's a 6.4 kilowatt system.
So that's kind of big for plug-in, 6.4 kilowatts.
That's kind of big for plug-in. Honey, I like to see it this way. All the rest is kind of small for plug-in. That's the way I see it. If I'm going to use a plug, I want to generate. I want to bring me to net zero.
Yeah, I want to have like a megawatt plug.
There you go. I want it till my megas hurt.
So what does this look like? Maybe you could explain it.
Like,
it's got like a rack or something?
It is a rack. It is
and it's
aluminum
made for just
rack.
like the homeowner to do it without a permit, or does it require a permit?
Does it
we don't need
require a
those stinking
permit?
permits.
Does it require a permit? Isn't that the question? We're going towards no. Plug-in solar does not require a permit. Why would you need a permit? We have 2 grid impact analyses, one from North Carolina State University, one from SLAC National Labs.
Oh, I went there. They have this electron shooter.
That's
electron
the one
shooter
right
in
off
Stanford.
Sandhill Road in Stanford. They don't use the Stanford name anymore, but that's okay. We forgive them. They have something called the Gizmo department, and the Gizmo department does renewable energy studies, and the Department of Energy subsidized a partnership with them to do a grid impact analysis. By the way, folks, all of these analyses are available on our website, www.gizmopower.com. You can look and see yourself, even with 100% insertion of megas in driveways by means of a 240 volt. The thing it really harms is the bottom line profits of the investor-owned utilities.
Well, don't you feel bad for the corporation? Corporations should have more rights than humans.
Well, I'll tell you what, they can have their rights. As batteries get cheaper and cheaper, more folks are just going to go off grid and do VPPs, folks. So they better get their S together. They better start getting their business models together and start finding out ways that they can also benefit from behind the meter generation.
So the mega, so it's got a rack, and I'm seeing this thing, it says foldable design.
Yes, so it moves
it's
in and out of a garage, for example. If you're gonna have a big fat, hurricane come, you can, wheel
Big
it
bad
right in. And the car fits right underneath it inside the garage. Of course, you got to get rid of the bicycle and the motorcycle and the ping pong
Why
table.
don't I just set it up in the garage and then have to move it?
Ha ha ha.
Do you like sunlight for some reason?
Yeah.
And speaking of that, does it have energy storage with it?
So that what we call the Fiona. When you couple the Mega with a portable storage device, then you are generating during the day. And then as you go to sleep, that storage device eventually depletes itself, turning into an ogre. So we call it the Fiona. By day one way, by night eventually another. So if those, again, storage capacity becomes more and more reasonably priced, becomes smaller and lighter as our R&D goes on for storage, then yes, it becomes a more affordable solution to couple with the Mega. But for example, the folks right now, they're in Pine Ridge, they are on grid, they can generate enough during the day with this, and then at night, they're back on the grid again.
And so that works well if you have net metering.
That works great if you have net metering. And ultimately, they may end up getting storage, but we want to prove a proof of concept where we're getting it down to as cheap as possible to generate your own electricity. Now, I know I've heard the folks out there saying, solar without storage is stupid, stupid, stupid. I tell you what's stupid is buying something you can't afford, or not being able to buy something that you could otherwise afford if you didn't have the storage. So we're starting out without storage. I am not vilifying storage.
Well,
I am saying that there is a economic interest in generating.
Well, I guess too, like if you're just plugging stuff in, you could go buy one of those, what do they call them, Yetis or something like that? Where
Yes,
just like,
you could.
You just plug these
Yes,
things in.
you
You could go
could.
buy a couple of those. And
Absolutely. Nothing is stopping people from adding on storage to the mega, but I want it clear. We are about generation behind the meter. We are about portable, powerful plug-in generation.
So what's the inverter look and sound and
So
like?
right now we're working with various inverters. By the way, I am not the VP of engineering, so I get a little bit cautious. You know, we reserve the right to change our inverters as time and technology goes forward. Right now we've used SolarEdge, Fronius, and now we are moving towards a few other grid forming inverter.
Oh, grid forming.
Well,
Wow.
grid forming is great, guys. Think about it. When the grid goes down, you can still generate. When the grid goes back up, you feed your home, and then the excess can go back to the grid.
And in some definitions of grid forming, especially like with really big inverters, it makes the grid stay up when you don't have base load.
Exactly. Exactly. Go ahead, grid. Use me. Use and abuse me. Just don't take my money and don't take my kilowatts for free. And then we can have a nice...
Out of my cold, dead hands.
There you go. Hey, it's great chatting with you about all of this.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had this podcast, so I look forward to hearing what comes out of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, those who are interested in supporting the mega, you can check us out on Gizmo Power. Write to us. We are still open for deployment in the next 5 years, but the Lakota Nation takes priority.
You use a lot of like deployment and like
Yes.
guns and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
in
you
your
know
mega.
why? You know why we talk about deployment? Because we don't call it an installation. There's no more installing.
It's like
You
deploying
roll
the
it down.
troops.
Do you deploy a washing machine? No, you just, or you don't, I guess you
Yeah.
do install it, don't you? But installation sounds so permanent. And the idea is this is good for renters. So
I
you
have
can
an
deinstall it.
off-grid washing machine.
Oh, do you?
I guess you would say exit, like I just water plants. Like you're not really supposed to do
Oh,
that.
yeah. No, that's great. It's
Yeah.
gray water, dear.
Yeah,
it's
gray
it's
water.
fine. It's good. Dear, have your plants complained?
The plants have not complained, but I think that there are some rules about that
There
in
probably
polite society.
is. Oh, well then don't ask, don't tell. That's what I
Okay.
say here.
All right, I'm not telling if you're not telling.
There you go.
All right, well, that's been really fun talking to you
It's been
here
great talking
at
to
Inner
you,
Solar.
too.
We're sitting over by the solar games, and so if you heard some
Sure
stuff in the
are.
background, there's people that are doing competitive solar installing, and tomorrow I'm going to be a judge.
See, we competitive solar deployment. We make our racks indoors, listening to Sirius XM radio or whatever in the warm or in the cool. And then all you do is deploy it. You roll it over to the home, roll it onto the driveway and plug it in. There's nothing to install.
All right, woo! Okay, so you got to check this out.
Yeah.
Check all this Gizmo. I guess it's pretty much like it sounds. G-I-S-M-O.
Well, it is with an S, not a Z. So it's Gizmo with an S. Just like
Gizmo.
Ginsberg is with an S.
Okay, Gizmo.
Okay, Gizmo Power.
Power.com.
Yep,
You gotta
there we
check out
are,
Erika
all three of
there
us.
and her daughter, and make sure that you make your own power and you plug it into 240 volts, and that you don't get caught.
There you
They
go.
don't let you do it.
There you go. There are people on our waiting list.
People on the waiting
Looking
list.
forward to getting more of you.
All right. Well,
Oh,
thanks.
you probably want to know what costs without a battery.
What?
So a 6.4 kilowatt mega system with EV charger, shading your car, charging your home and battery, and feeding back to the grid will cost you between $17,000 and $19,000.
Wow. Okay, cool. Here's some cash right now.
There you go. Well, it's cheaper than many 10 kilowatt systems on your roof. And it has the EV charger and the car shading.
And here's a trick. If you have an EV that could supply circuits.
There you
could
go.
plug your extension
There
cords
you
into
go.
it, and then you have some backup.
Now
action.
you have VTX. And
Vita
you're
X.
part of that movement as well.
All right. Ow!
We will not be boxed in.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to Shawn White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. To find out more, go to SolarSEAN.com and take a lot of classes, get yourself NABCEP certified, and you could learn all about the NEC, or as Erika calls it, and they call it in a lot of other places in different countries, the neck.
The neck. Get off my neck.
Yeah, get off my neck. And if you want to figure out how to break the rules, you have to know what the rules are.
There you go.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Erika. It's good talking to you. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Ooh.